Margaret Atwood. A thin, fading line between sleep and awake, where a light image remains. That's what you have to hold on to. Recall the contours and fabric and flow of the dream, all the details, no matter how mundane, and reach for the journal you keep by your bed, the one with the pen crammed into its spine, and write it all down. Shadow language. It was a bike spoke. There was a moment, a hand turning a stone. Something was turning, being turned. It was a woman. She was drowning, or I was flying into the ocean. There beside my pillow, a new page, softened with ink. My first lover after my divorce introduced me to the idea of writing down my dreams every morning before I got out of bed. We called them lovers in the 80s. How strange it would sound to introduce someone that way now. He went so far as to tie a bandana around his forehead before he drifted off to sleep, because he believed the pressure on his skull helped him remember. I tried a bandana a few times, but found it restricting and kept me awake. He wanted to share his dreams every morning over coffee, but I didn't want to hear them, and I didn't want to share mine. A decade later, when lovers became partners, I joined a dream circle, a weekly amorphous gathering hosted by a Jungian scholar whose research pointed to growing evidence that humanity was evolving from experiencing God as an unyielding patriarch to a loving, compassionate mother. We'd find a comfy spot amidst the oversized couches, armchairs, end tables, and her ancient oak desk, crammed with books, framed pictures, and every imaginable symbol of the feminine divine, while we waited for tea and cookies to be served. I'd gaze around the walls covered with the fine tapestries and paintings, and inevitably stop at the bright yellow smiley face "Don't Worry" poster taped over the couch with "She's Coming" written in pen along the bottom. Our meeting would officially begin with our hostess asking, "Has anyone had any interesting dreams?" And after 2 hours of sharing, discussing, and munching on sugar cookies, would end with her reminder, "Your dreams are trying to tell you something. Don't forget to pay attention." I wrote in my little book, 28th November 1994, Margaret Atwood is standing on a cliff wearing black high heels and a beige trench coat. We're in Canada, but it could be Arizona. She motions with one hand to follow her through the mouth of a cave. There's a dim light coming from inside. I follow her. There are tourists in the cave. Margaret stands in the center of them and begins a lecture. She points to lines in the walls, fissures everywhere, emitting dim light. I push my eye against one of the cracks and see a little girl lying on her side, wedged so tight she can't move. Her dark, round eyes stare back at me. She closes them slowly, then blinks them open again. I step back horrified. I realize there's a child wedged into every fissure. I want to cry out for help, but I don't want to interrupt Margaret's lecture. She's talking very quietly. I can't recall anything of what she said. I brought this dream to Dream Circle the following week, and after I'd read it aloud twice, I was asked by someone what I thought it meant. I said I had no idea, felt it was very important, and our hostess reminded us that some dreams are not obvious right away, and that more of their meaning may be revealed over time. My dream of Margaret Atwood stayed with me, like a splinter in your finger that's too deep to extract, and it floats around in the body, surfacing just below your skin, so you can see it, but it's not quite poking through enough to grab it. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but whenever I remember that dream, I think, what the heck was Margaret Atwood saying? Many years later, with a stable marriage and children raised, I joined a writer's circle. We met every other week, 5 of us, and shared our writing, encouraged one another, and talked writer's talk. One evening, we were coming up with names of favorite Canadian writers and discussing what they owed to their success. Someone said Margaret Atwood, and I blurted out, "Oh my God, that reminds me of that strangest dream I had years and years ago." And then I went on to recite all the details, the cave, the cracks, the little girl with the blinking eyes wedged on her side, how I felt helpless, how Margaret was lecturing the whole time and I couldn't hear her. And finally I said, "And it still bugs me that I can't remember a word of what she was saying." Someone laughed. "Too bad, that might have been important information." Someone else said, "You can dream it again and ask her to speak up this time." I laughed and said, "Good idea. crawled under my covers. I threw my arms up and said, "Okay, dream maker, I know you heard me. Please help. I need to remember what the heck Margaret Atwood was saying in that dream." Dream maker. I'd made friends with her a few years before, during my vision quest. 4 days and nights under a tarp in the forest, within the 10-foot diameter circle I cleared around the spot where blue jay landed and cawed out to me. My sacred circle, surrounded by hemlock